heard that bus.
So, our microphones don't work. Should I just say this loud? Outside voice, okay. I teach aerobics. Okay. Whereas emergencies can occur at any time that require police, fire, emergency, medical services, and whereas an emergency occurs, the prompt response of police officers, firefighters, and paramedics is critical to the protection of life and preservation of property. And whereas the safety of our police officers and firefighters is dependent upon the quality and accuracy of information obtained from citizens who telephone the Danville County 911 Center, whereas public safety telecommunicators are the first and most critical contact our citizens have with emergency services. And whereas public safety telecommunicators are the single vital link for our police officers.
Well, thank you all for your work. You don't realize it's a 24/7, 395 days a year.
Who shall have this? I'm working.
Oh, you worked no?
Yeah, she's got a pit set on.
Oh,
No break. Guys ready?
yes, ma'am, we're ready.
Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ladies. Tell the guys we said thanks as well.
One guy. One guy.
No, we all have it. It's such a hard job. I couldn't do it. It's such a hard job.
I'll be praying for him every day. Then, right?
Yes, yes.
Good to see you. Thank you, ma'am. I said 395 days. Everybody talk that here, okay? That was on purpose. That's how important they are. Right? Now that I've messed your agenda all up, Commissioners, I'd like to have an approval of an agenda tonight. And there is another change, and that is to add an item 6A. It's a proclamation, a resolution in honor of Tree City. So the chair would like to entertain a motion to approve the amended agenda.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, sir. Whoa, we're back on. Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all. Okay, next on our agenda, we have an opportunity for folks to speak to the commission. It's called Hear the Public. Raise your hand, be recognized. You can take 3 minutes or less, and you can talk to us about any item that you so desire that is on our agenda tonight. Only items on the agenda for tonight are at this Hear the Public. Hearing and seeing none, let's move on then. Next on our agenda is a Kinder Morgan status report. We have representatives from Kinder Morgan. Welcome to our meeting again tonight.
Hello, Mr. Mayor again, members of the commission. I'm Alan Four, Vice President with Kinder Morgan.
CJ May again with team leader.
I think it's a good sign that we're speaking here together.
Yes, sir.
So since the 2 weeks ago when we briefed council, we've made, I think, good and significant and meaningful progress on this process.
Okay.
First, the communication between the parties and the city has been, I think, a game changer. Everyone included on all the communications, understanding the deliverables and what needs to be done, eliminating whatever internal processes at our companies would take longer in a process, reducing those windows. I know you're familiar with those.
Yes, sir.
And knowing that we have a specific goal to get to. We had a very productive on-site meeting on the 25th with representatives of Team Leader, Kinder Morgan, and the city. And I think eyes on everything that's out there in addition to all the work that's been done up to them, but everybody to get eyes on the same thing, seeing the same thing, thinking the same thing, and identifying other remaining issues that needed to be addressed. One of the items was to be sure that the compaction is proper at the crossing before asphalt is laid. So a process is in place to test to make sure that the compaction is what it should be, and those tests will be forthcoming. We owe, as part of the resolution from 2 weeks ago, we owe the city by Wednesday a plan with targeted dates for implementation. Now, I will say that a lot of these things are dependent upon weather, particularly when you're working outside and doing testing and doing some of these things that you need to be able to do those safely. So when we put this plan forward, these are targeted dates, and we want to meet them, but there could be some things that intervene. But I will say that the big issue here is the understanding between Kinder Morgan and Team Leader and the city that we know what needs to be done. We know what we need to do to get it done, and now it's just all the processes and technical aspects of that following a schedule and a specific process. So, do you want to say anything else on that?
Well, there's not a lot I can add to what Alan has said, but I would like to just tell you how much we appreciate your patience and cooperation. Most of the Lowe's stores you see throughout Kentucky and a lot of other states, I've somehow got my fingerprints on those because we did Lowe's work for 25 years.
Sure.
And I can tell you that we have yet to find a community that is more cooperative and helpful as this. And shout out to Earl and Stephen and their help in bringing this thing to where it is today. I think we're close. We're probably not right on schedule, but if we're not, we got reasons for that, good reasons. So I agree with Alan. We've been very diligent in our efforts thus far, and we'll continue to do so. So we plan on getting the road open. We got a bunch of good tenants that want to join us out there, and it's going to be some stuff that you're going to be really glad to hear about whenever we can get the road open. We don't want to open the road and put more pressure on those other two access points until, so we don't want to really develop the rest of the property until the traffic situation is, according to our traffic engineers, is under control.
Yeah.
And so as soon as we get the road open, we'll start talking about what we got planned going forward. So,
One other item, I'm not sure if it was clarified, and maybe I did it after the meeting, was about the second line. So there are two lines that this road crosses to get to the development, and there was a question on whether one of them was too deep and needed to be raised, which is kind of counterintuitive to, we always like our pipelines to be deeper. So we cleared that up. It does not need to be lowered, so that's taken out of the equation, I think is going to be helpful in meeting the timeline that we put forth. So we were able to clear that up a couple of days after the last council meeting. I'll add to what you said, too, about the city's involvement, the city manager and the city attorney particularly. Sometimes it's helpful to have pointed direction from the city leadership to make sure that my company understands the importance of this to the city, and it's been clear from the beginning from city staff that this needs attention, and I hope you've seen by the actions since that time that we've paid attention, and we're going to stay on top of this until conclusion.
Thank you.
I also wanted to thank, Alan and CJ for coming in today, but I wanted to reiterate and talk about the open dialogue that we had right off the bat with these guys and just, give them the kudos that they're due. I know they're very busy folks, but we sure appreciate their time on this matter. As you mentioned, we've got some initial site investigations that we're working through right now, weather permitting. We'll try to maintain schedule. And as CJ mentioned, if there's something that comes up on that schedule, we're looking at certain milestones for the next month of getting updates to the city, maybe the Monday of every week between now and the end of the month to see where we stand. So that way, in case something does come up, we can bring that forward and let everybody know what's going on. So just thanks to you all.
well, and I appreciate you speaking up there, Marshall. As far as the technical parts of this, that's not for me to talk about because I'm not a technician. My wife calls me lightning because I never hit the same place twice with a hammer. So there are people that do this that are in this room tonight. So if you want any technical explanation, Todd Ball is here, and Marshall, of course, is up to date. I've been driving today. There's been emails going back and forth on updates. So Jake Cassidy has been reading this to me, and I've been trying to pick up what he's laying down, but it's not working too good. So, Marshall, I think if you could kind of elaborate on when you think this all can be done per the email that we received from our engineer today.
Based on the feedback that we've had, since the end of last week, we've been back and forth even over the weekend with comments from all the parties involved, right? Trying to narrow down the schedule, look at the technical aspects of the compaction testing needed and weather-related impacts. That, of course, we've got a couple days of rain coming in right now. We've got some erosion control things that need to be tightened up out there on the site to allow the work to be completed. As of right now, we're trying to do our best to hold by the end of the month as per the resolution. Again, the weather is always the wild card in that situation, and there's some lag time in getting the testing results back. There's certain scientific testing that needs to be done for the compaction, and then it has to be lab tested and so on and so forth. So there's some time there. There's some time built in for the encroachment discussions with Kinder Morgan and team leaders. So we're trying to reduce that and compress that schedule as best we can. But at the end of the day, we want a good product in the field. Before we lay the final asphalt, that road needs to be in the best shape that it can possibly be. So, time being of the essence, we also want to be, prudent about the way that we go about things. So, right now, we're looking to hopefully hit by the end of the month. If not, it may be a week or so after, but we'll certainly keep everybody updated in the process.
Marshall, I don't know when you were out there last, but we left there about 5 o'clock today, and the silt fence was up on the east side of the road, and the seed and straw was being completed on the east side. So
That's good. I appreciate that.
So,
I want to say thanks on behalf of the commission for the update and the continued communications. And this is one project, but there's going to be several projects in that area, so we've got this line of direct communication so that we'll stay in front of all these types of things. And the safety of our community is what's most important to us, but we also cherish economic development as well, though. So thank you all for the cooperation.
Thank you.
And see you in 2 more weeks.
Okay.
All right? The next item on our agenda is a banner request, the center light pole banners. You all have all the information and pictures in your packet. So the chair would like to ask, is there someone to present on behalf of Center College? Or
I'll just do it. Center
Okay.
College is asking to hang the light pole banners up for their graduation this year, leading up, it'll be May 7th through the 19th. And Center College will supply those banners.
Thank you, ma'am. Any questions or comments from the commission? If not, the chair will entertain a motion to approve the banner request from Center College as presented.
I would make that motion.
Thank you, sir. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor of approval, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, thank you all. There's, really look sharp what was in our packet. Next item is approval of the minutes of the previous meetings. Is there a motion to approve our minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of 3:25:24 as presented.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, ma'am. Any additions, deletions, corrections? Hearing none. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. The minutes are approved. Next item is second reading of ordinance number 2028 pertaining to 521 Inland Avenue, a zone change. Is there a motion? Oh, well, we'll let Madam Clerk read the request first of all.
This is the second reading of ordinance number 2028, an ordinance changing the zone from highway business HB and agriculture AG to light industrial LI for approximately 6.787 acres, more or less, of real property located at 521 Inland Avenue in the city of Danville, Kentucky.
Thank you, ma'am.
I move for approval of the second reading of ordinance 2028.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, sir. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, roll call vote?
Commissioner Caudle?
Yes.
Commissioner Pete?
Yes.
Mayor Atkins?
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Holland?
Yes.
Commissioner Saris?
Yes.
Thank you all. Next item is Resolution 2024-04-0801, the SAM.gov reactivation card or process, right?
So the city uses sam.gov to apply for federal grants and receive money for those. And through the years, different hands have been involved in that account. And we are just asking for you all to approve this resolution to reactivate that account. Somehow it's gotten deactivated, so this
Yeah.
is to reactivate it.
Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2024-04-0801.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, sir. Questions?
What, I'm not sure if I'm clear on what they do. They look for grants that we apply
So-
for?
I'm going to step in because I think I know a little bit more about it than Ashley. SAM.gov is essentially the clearinghouse that the requests for money come in and out of. And so we don't actually look for grants through there, but we do have to have this account to get any federal money. And essentially, over the years, the account administrator has changed between staff that is no longer here. And because it was the last time we had to renew it, it wasn't done exactly right. We've essentially been kind of locked out. And they need us to prove that we are the city to get reactivated, essentially, so that we can continue requesting and getting funds for things we've already got and plan to get. So essentially what's happened is we just did not get the correct account administrator changed previously. So and they need a lot of hoops for us to jump through to get it reactivated, unfortunately, so.
It's a real good thing.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Any other questions? We have a motion already, so all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Thank you all. Item 6A is a resolution 2024-04-0805 about the Tree City USA.
This is just a resolution approving the mayor to sign the application for Tree City, for us to be recertified as a Tree City.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there a motion?
I move to accept resolution number 2024-04-0805.
Thank you, sir.
Second.
Thank you, sir. Questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed likewise, motion carries. Next item is item number 7, city manager report. But before the city manager, who is really not here tonight, makes his report, I've been asked by the commission to ask you a few questions. Okay?
All right.
First of all, Mr. Coffey, do you have a medical excuse?
As a matter of fact, I do, yeah.
Have you been released from by your doctor?
To return on a part-time basis.
Do you have something in writing, though?
Light duty, I think.
Do you have something in writing, though?
Yes, I do.
On the advice of counsel, my client suggests no more questions.
Well, I was informed by the commission that if he didn't have anything in writing, was to not let him participate tonight, so. You had your counsel well prepared to take up for you, didn't you? Okay. All right, Mr. City Manager.
Well, first of all, I appreciate being back. I appreciate the time. It's been important for me to get a little bit better, and so we're excited to be back and re-energized for sure. We'll mention the upcoming dates, just to keep it brief. 4/11, 8:30 a.m. is our first budget meeting. 4/16 is the department presentations. That's going to start at 8:30 a.m. too. 4/22 is the next commission meeting, and 4/25, we do have another budget meeting that morning. So we would note in the month of April, we've got 3 extra meetings for the budget process. Then the next thing I wanted to make sure I mentioned tonight is the DCA SRO contract discussion that happened last time. I want to pull that off the table for a while, but give me an opportunity to meet with the sheriff and DCA and Tony and work our way through that. I don't think that there was an imminent time frame for them anyway, and so that maybe we can have something, if it comes back up in June, maybe is probably when that would daylight again, if it's going to. The next thing is the Perryville water line. We have been under construction in there for a while. A lot of we have another leak today and a bull water advisory today. And Marshall, I wanted to open the floor to Marshall for just a minute to talk about that and to give an update. But other than to say ultimately that it's just an old part of the system, it's not mapped extremely well. And so there's issues with locating the lines when you do a bud request. The lines are not, a PVC line doesn't pick up with a metal detector, for example. There's no tracer wire at the age when that system was put in, so there's no way to really do metal detecting and find some of that material. So a lot of it is relying on some old maps. The contractor at the time might have been on the correct location in the plans to start on a road, might have hit a driveway, switched, moved 10 feet, and we don't know that necessarily. And so, Marshall, do you want to elaborate on those issues?
Yeah, to Earl's points, it is an old system, and anytime that you're following essentially relatively the same corridor, you're going to run into issues with the old line. It may be a lot deeper than what it was anticipated or in different locations and so on and so forth. And you're gonna run into those issues. Anytime you run into those issues, we try to run out there and get it fixed as quickly as we can and get them back in service. Anytime that we do that, Division of Water is notified when we have a main break like that. And the tricky thing about Parable, though, is something to keep in mind that, there's only one line that feeds Parable right now. So along Parable Road, along the 150 corridor. Hence, another need for the redundancy of this project, that we're putting a new 12-inch line in the same corridor. So that being said, we're working through some things in the project, but it's nothing it's really uncommon in a similar type of project like this. But at the end of the day, if that same 8-inch water line that's out there today that we're sporadically interfering with has issues in the future, we have a secondary line that's in the ground now, right adjacent to it, that helps feed the city of Parable and everybody beyond Parable. So, it affects, and we confirmed and understand that it does affect not just Parable, but there's a lot of folks west of Parable and north and south of Parable that are affected anytime that we, disturb that 8-inch existing feed into the system. So we're certainly cognizant of that, and anytime that we have an issue, we do bull water advisories and try to get that repaired as quickly as possible.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Back to you, Mr. City Manager.
Yes, and other than to just reaffirm from our perspective, the list of issues that we've had only indicates why the project is ongoing and why it's necessary, for sure. Lobbying discussion, so we've talked a little bit about whether or not the timing to hire a lobbyist for the city, whether it's now. There is a gluttony of federal dollars being processed through the system from the ARPA period, from the COVID period. It's finding its way through the grant processes this cycle. We are, in looking at the state budget that was passed, there was quite a bit of money that was doled out during that process. Of course, we was not able to get engaged in that fully, probably as we could have been. We tried, we made some trips to Frankfurt, we did some good things, the airport got money, there was some other money awarded. But we do feel like that there's still an advantage to go to DC as well and make contacts. We've sought advice from other folks, other cities, other lobbyists, frankly, other people that use lobbyists. And there are some key points of advice that we've been given. One is just to make trips to Washington a couple times a year. Some delegation, 1 or 2 people from the community, probably be the mayor and somebody else. You want some technical person, so it could be a commissioner, it doesn't have to be the mayor. It could be, you all decide what that looks like. But there is an advantage to 1 or 2 times a year being in Washington, being in front of our delegation in Washington. We received some advice. The mayor was able to set up a call with us and a potential firm that operates out of Washington that supports another city. Frankfurt, I think, is one of them. And that call, the suggestion is that we do make that trip a couple times a year. And so as we're fleshing out those details and fleshing out what that looks like, we just want to put that out there to you so that as that comes back up along the way, if you all have any thoughts on that, please send them my way, and maybe we can anticipate a question prior to us actually bringing you something back. We do want to ask. We want to have a purpose for asking for money. We do have a laundry list of projects that does need federal dollars. The wastewater plant, Phase 2, is a regional wastewater plant. You have some water projects still ongoing, but there's general fund projects as well. You have the downtown master plan that's occurring. So there's a lot of detail there that we feel like that what we've seen is that you throw those ideas out there and the federal folks, when they see an opportunity, if they're familiar with you, they'll plug you in. And I think we had a good with Mr. Guthrie that while he was representing us, we need to maintain that relationship with Coomer, and we'll do that. And so I wanted to plant that seed for you. I don't really have a lot of granular detail, But just know that is something we're working on. We do need to plan a visit to Washington, talk to the mayor quite a bit about it. So we'll leave it there for today. And please send me questions along the way. If you process that and you have something that you question, something that you think is beneficial, please add that to us and we'll try to answer those questions when it comes time. That's all I got for tonight.
Wow. Any questions for our city manager?
Yeah, Earl, you've been away for a little bit, but so maybe Josh can help you, but can we get an update on wayfinding signage?
Yeah, I think they're mobilizing this week to start putting in sign foundations. So I think we'll start seeing some signs go up in the next couple of weeks. They kind of targeted the end of April to be complete. So I haven't updated you all on that lately, but there's been a lot of movement in the background for them to get started, so.
Thank you. I knew it was supposed to be this month, but we just, like you said, we haven't heard anything, so.
And I saw in the paper that Coomer has office here in Danville, so you could just grab them here.
Well, that's true, and we have to do that. We have to be in touch with our local folks. But 100% of the advice we've been given from cities is there needs to be a delegation that goes to Washington that touches that congressman's office there. That's what, and every time we ask, that's what we get. All the advice we get is to make sure we do that. Maybe have a rotating delegation or something if you can do twice a year, or something.
Any other questions or comments to the city manager?
Oh, just maybe stay abreast when you're looking at SROs just all over Danville with the SB2, the Guardian Bill that passed the House and the Senate. There might be a lot more opportunities for schools to find, SROs. Just something to stay abreast of if the governor signs that.
Other questions or comments? That is a good one, Commissioner Holland. Anyone else?
Yeah, I might just say that the delegation might have a little bit more meat if the county was involved as well. What do you think?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we can talk about that kind of thing for sure. And the county judge is here, and so we appreciate her presence, and we can certainly have a conversation with her if there's definitely a shared interest in the success on things like that, for sure. Yeah.
Okay, moving along. Thank you, Mr. Coffey. We're at this part of our agenda where we hear the public for the second time tonight. Folks who want to talk to us about things that are not on the agenda can raise their hand to be recognized. Ms. Brown?
I'm Wilma Brown. I have written down my remarks so I can go faster and won't go over my 3-minute limit. I have some comments about the City Commission meeting 2 weeks ago. That City Commission meeting agenda contained 2 political and controversial items. First, there is the item about the current Kentucky bill that would lift the decades-old mandate for fluoridation of the Kentucky water systems, now leaving that decision to be made locally. This is not about health or science. It is political and it's controversial. The city staff sent a letter of support of this bill to legislators without input from the commissioners. I'm wondering why Danville is taking an official position on this issue. The second issue is even bigger. There's a new Kentucky law allowing private schools to ask local governments for funding of their school resource officers. Danville Christian Academy asked for public funding immediately after the bill was passed into law. But Danville is in no way required to grant this request. And yet staff urged the commission to approve tax dollars to fund school resource officers for a private school, that is DCA. This issue is not about education or even school safety. It's about the desire to use public funds for private schools. It's political and it's controversial. I was particularly concerned that the City Commission was being asked to pass this move without adequate review or discussion. In urging the commissioners to approve the request, the city attorney said about DCA, they are taxpayers too. But that is not the way government works. Taxpayers are only guaranteed that we have access to government services and programs. If we as individuals or groups of individuals decide that we do not want to use these services, we are then responsible to provide these services for ourselves if needed without compensation or alternative offers by the government. In the future, I would like to hear what our elected representatives have to say about controversial situations like this without pressure or urging from the staff. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, ma'am. Someone else? Well, next on our agenda is to hear from the commissioner comments. So I start to my left, start to my right.
I have none today.
Well, we're going to say to you, safe travels, right? All right.
There's a big regional job fair on Thursday with the Development Corporation. There's going to be 51 companies, free food. So it's an expo, so there's also like colleges and like the full package. So it's at the showroom
10 o'clock?
on the bypass, 10 to 2.
10 o'clock? Okay. Yes, ma'am.
I'd just like to thank staff. We were lucky that we weren't hit by tornadoes and everything else, but I'm thankful that our staff was ready in case something happened, I'm sure. And also, I think we were listed as number 4 in the magazine recently. I think you could speak to that. Southern Living, right? Number 4 in the nation or in this? Right.
Tina, you had shared this with me. I thought you were going to say something like this. This is Boyle County Neighbors, and it features a family forged in far. It's about the Danville Fire Department. Great read if you haven't seen this. I brought my copy to pass on to other folks at the City Hall and the fire station, because this is one of those things that it gets out to households, but unfortunately doesn't get to all households in Danville and Boyle County. So we need to share it. Okay? Other comments? Mr. Cottle, welcome back. Got you made back. Ms. Pete, welcome back. Okay. All right, let's move on then. Payment of the bills is the next item. Oh, wait, Earth Day is before our next meeting? Give a shout out for Earth Day activities. Is it after? Okay, all right. Okay. Well, still want to be sure we keep that on our minds, Earth Day. And then I was going to talk about the community wellness project at the Jenny Rogers Community Center from 9 to 12 today. It's focused on mental wellness as well as health. But it's been sponsored by a group of students from Center College. And it's free screenings and results and free sessions, and of course always free food and free games and free whatever. But it's from 9 to 12 at our Jenny Rogers Community Center. It's been widely broadcast on the center Facebook page and our website and a little bit of everything else. So I want to remind folks about that as well. Now, payment of the bills. Is there a motion to approve the payment of the bills?
I move that we approve the bill list in the amount of $1,414,302.28.
Thank you, sir. Is there a second? Any questions?
Yeah, I have one question, and I'm sure you can answer this real well, Lee. Lebanon Waterworks Company, I don't understand what's happening there.
They do mapping. There's a partnership with the GIS system with them. They started it, essentially, they started that for their system before ours. And so Marshall identified that relationship, and that's the cost for that maintenance agreement, basically, with our mapping.
And we have so many invoices at once. Sometimes our vendors, they don't have great accountants on staff, and so they haven't billed us for several months, and they're catching up now. Certain times a year, you'll see that, like a lot of, if they're on a calendar year, you'll see a lot come in right after January, because they realize we haven't billed you guys for several months. And then, sometimes you'll see them right before, after the fiscal year end, where they'll say, oh, we haven't sent you guys this bill yet. And so we do try to reach out to a lot of vendors when we know we haven't gotten a bill, but some of them we just don't, we don't know exactly when to expect the next one to come up. So, especially looking at the dates, I think they missed a couple several through the road, but that's essentially the catch-up for them. Not ideal, but unfortunately that happens more than we would like.
Other questions or comments? Hearing none. We have a motion already, so all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? So bills are paid. Next item is Resolution 2024-040802, Smith Contractors Change Order. Michael Smith Park?
Thank you, Mayor. This agenda item is in regards to change order number 10 for the wastewater treatment plant, Phase 1 construction contract with Smith Contractors Incorporated. Change order 10 is a $2,333.08 increase to the contract amount. This is a project balancing change order for items including door and gate access controls, balancing credit for allowances in the project, DPO change order number 5, which has been previously heard, and additional items. So if you flip over to the change order number 10 paperwork, the support information, you'll see, as typical on some of these change orders that I bring to the commission, you'll see numbers that are either in parentheses or not. The items in parentheses are the deductions to the contract. That door and access control, I just wanted to point that out. Originally, when we bid the job, that particular line of work came in at over $50,000. So we pulled that out early on and then did some internal pricing amongst our folks internally with staff and sought some prices in the marketplace at that time. So instead of $50,000+, you're looking at about $18,000 and change. So overall, it's a contract increase of $2,333.08.
Thank you, sir.
And we do want to take a minute real quick to say, we do want to get out there and give you all a tour of the change. That's been the longest project in the history of time because of COVID. Honestly, it's just taken forever to get some of the electrical items in. But we will schedule a visit for you all and maybe even some sort of ribbon ceremony of some kind, some small ceremony, nothing fancy.
Josh is just glad you knocked him off number 1, streetscape. Now you're number 2.
Do we need a motion on this one?
I'll move to approve Resolution 2024-040802.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions or comments?
Thank you for the detail, Marshall, on the paperwork. I appreciate that.
Okay. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Those opposed, motion carries. Thank you. Marshall, you have the next one, 040803.
Thank you, Mayor. This agenda item is in regards to efforts to maintain proper treatment methodologies and reduce risk of permit violations at the wastewater plant. We're requesting an emergency purchase of a new mechanical drive unit for one of the 4 clarifiers that are on site currently today. Now, these are existing structures that are on site, not part of the Phase 1 project. In March, personnel at the wastewater treatment plant discovered a failure of an existing mechanical drive unit for one of our 4 wastewater clarifiers. And I had an exhibit with a picture in there also to show the 4 round structures that we're talking about. One of those 4 as well as a cost estimate from the supplier. So there's currently an anticipated 8 to 10 week lead time for delivery on something like this. But the bottom line is, if we were to have this one plus maybe another one, which is already aging as well, go out on us, we could be in proximity of permit violations. So we want to make sure we stay within permit violations for the city and from a regulatory standpoint with Division of Water and EPA. So we felt that, time is of the essence to go ahead and get this ordered and get one put back in case we happen to lose another one in the future. All this work that we're doing right now was previously envisioned to be a phase 2 type of approach to upgrades for the wastewater plant, but since we're not there yet, we're trying to be very proactive in making sure we stay within permit.
Thank you, sir.
So the total cost will be $59,139.00, and that's based out of at least 3 to 4 quotes that we got. That's the
Okay.
lowest quote that we had.
Questions or comments for Mr. Carrier? Do we need a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2024-040803.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor of passing this resolution, say aye.
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 Those opposed? Thank you all. Next item is Josh Morgan, Vision Zero Safety Action Plan.
Thank you,
You can't say
Mayor.
it 3 times, Josh.
Yeah, I know, it's, yeah, I try to figure out how to make that a little shorter title, but it keeps getting longer. But this is the safety action plan that has been developed over the past few months with Palmer Engineering as our consultant. That was funded by the Safe Streets for All grant that we received last year. The plan you have, so I had a draft plan that was sent to me before last week, and that's what was in your packet originally. The final version just got uploaded to your packet earlier today. I just want to make that clear. So if you saw things, if you looked at it over the weekend and you saw a few things that seemed out of place, we've hopefully gotten those fixed. And then if we after you all adopt this tonight, we'll get it posted online for the community to see. So what the plan you have in front of you kind of goes through our process that we've had over the past few months of collecting data, reviewing it, talking to the public, having some advisory group meetings, and kind of the final result of all that work is here are the areas that we need to address from a traffic safety standpoint. Once we adopt this plan, this is a plan we'll use to then apply for another grant to implement some of the work that's called out in the plan. So we need to adopt this before April 17th is the deadline that we have, to enable us to apply for a grant by the deadline of May 15th. So we're working pretty quickly through all this to get this done. Last meeting, we had that resolution with the initiative saying we were pursuing Vision Zero. That's part of this plan, is to say, hey, as a community, we're trying to pursue Vision Zero. So this is kind of the culmination of all this work. And we're asking you all tonight to adopt this plan as a community.
Thank you, sir. Is there a motion to approve the Vision Zero Safety Action Plan?
Yeah, I'll move to accept Resolution 2024-040804.
Thank you, sir.
Second.
Thank you, sir. Josh, you want to make one comment? The list of folks who were involved in putting together this plan I thought was a nice cross-section of our community. It looked good.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'd like to make another comment for the public's sake. The Vision Zero Network, he posted a map here, and I don't see any in Kentucky, so we're on the forefront, and everybody else in the United States is a pretty large city, so got to feel proud about what we're doing.
Yeah. Great comment. Any other comments, questions? All those in favor of this resolution, say aye.
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 Those opposed? Thank you, Josh.
Thank you all.
Chief Gray, how you doing this evening, sir? Oh, is he?
I thought we need to wake him up.
Yeah, he said, who are you talking to, dude? All right, my
I think
friend.
you see there's, we've asked to include other trainings for the alcohol establishments in the city. So we just asked the city to approve the changing of the ordinance that would allow other approved trainings for the servers besides the STAR training. I think last year, like that server went down for a while, and there were people that, because that was the only training that we were allowed when we first instituted our ordinance. And that server went down, and we had servers that couldn't get qualified or get their training and things like that. That is also a little more expensive than other trainings that have the same requirements and that other cities are using as well. So we opened it up to diversify and give more options to get the same training at different places and different rates.
And you guys will be responsible for making sure that what you approve will be of that same caliber, that same level of training for Kevin when he starts pouring stuff?
Yes, it's, like I said, every other city pretty much has gone to all those approved services. We don't see any need to just limit it to just one service.
Yeah. Okay, Chair would like to entertain a motion for first, Madam Clerk, you want to read this for us, please?
This is the first reading of ordinance number 2029, and ordinance amending City of Danville Code of Ordinances, Chapter 2.5, Alcoholic Beverages, Article 12, Mandatory Responsible Beverage Service Training.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there a motion to approve?
I move we approve first reading of ordinance 2029.
Second.
Thank you all. Any questions or comments?
I never did understand that anyway. Back when we originally did it, I didn't understand.
You just have to be trained to be legally able to pour, that's all. And serve, right? Okay, this is an ordinance, so Madam Clerk, roll call vote?
Commissioner Peak? Yes. Mayor Atkins?
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Holland?
Yes.
Commissioner Sayers?
Yes.
Commissioner Cottle?
Yes.
Thank you all. That concludes our regular meeting agenda. There is another question at hand though, right?
Fortunately, we do not have the need for an executive session, so that's all the items that we have in front of you.
All right.
Somebody make a motion to, I'm sorry. Madam Judge, thanks for joining us tonight.
Yes, ma'am.
Someone want to make a motion to adjourn, or should we have our own executive session without them guys?
I'm gonna make a motion, we adjourn. I have to go negotiate my new contract at UK, so
Oh.
I gotta get out here.
Whoa, okay. Is there a second to his motion?
I will second.
Wow, that was a tough question there. All those favoring adjourning, say aye.
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 Aye.